Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, friends. Good news, put your feet up. It's time for some Saturday morning React-TOONS, this time featuring Robotech, episode 74, Annie's Wedding. Wait, what? we saw this coming since the introduction of Annie. She's fallen in love with everybody. I guess she's found the one. Friends, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel and it allows me to alert you next time it's time for some Saturday morning React-TOONS. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. And if you're not a fan of Patreon, consider sticking with us on YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes at least a day early, plus any bonus episodes we come up with. But my dear friends, all that is then, this is now, and now it's time for some cartoons as we watch Robotech episode 74, Annie's Wedding. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go! Fan Mirror Universe. I think I've said this before. I had somebody ask, Greg, how do you plan your fanfares? Well, when I hear the music hit, I think, what am I going to do? So for those 2 to 3 seconds, I am deep in thought and constructing the perfect fanfare. I am now an expert at it. 74 fanfares later, he has claimed excellence in this particular discipline. Gotta find that cyclone too. This one's called Annie's Wedding and I'm worried. Let's go.
However, it would ultimately mean the extinction of the human race. So it is with great urgency that the young Robotech defenders renew their drive to Reflex Point.
Cool shots.
At this rate, we'll never have enough for an attack on Reflex Point. We've got to lose these guys and find a place to land.
Hey, you fancy flyboys! Did you forget about us?
Meanwhile, the defenseless Jeep. That was damn close.
Roger! Hold them down, Scott, but they're still on our trail.
What is this weird sky that we've got going on?
Minutes later, on the floor of the Invid Bio Colony.
Oh, okay.
A raft? It's got two things going for it. First, we'll save what little fuel we have left, and second, we won't be giving ourselves away by activating our mecha.
Yeah, but what do we do with the Jeep and the Alphas and the other stuff? We just can't leave it all behind.
We won't. We'll take it all.
That's a hell of a raft.
Darn big raft.
Yeah.
Listen, what are you guys moaning about? Believe me, we'll be better off without Lancer. He's probably worried about breaking a fingernail or getting his hair messed or something like that.
Yeah, that certainly seems like Lancer.
Country boy, it's about time you showed us your stuff. I know it's a little primitive, but at least this thing doesn't need protoculture to operate.
Roger. Oh.
I need you to cut down 200 trees.
I think it's my duty as lookout man to thoroughly investigate this lake for any underwater mines. I mean, you never know.
Lancer, if you get attacked, you deserve it. I was in your camp there until you realized this was a recreational.
You have proved yourself time and again as a soldier and a shape changer. In both these capacities, you have helped to ensure the survival of our race. Now the time has come for you to continue your evolution, to take the next step upward in the spiral of protogenetic progress.
This is crazy.
Prepare yourself for disembodiment and transmutation.
Wow.
The disembodiment is complete. You are yourself, unadorned, without identity, awaiting transmutation into the shell that will make you invincible.
We've seen these before.
Behold, the Enforcer.
The Enforcer? Oh, shit. That thing looks nasty. At least you brought a towel with you.
I don't suppose there'll be anything to report for a while.
Oh, Lancer, you've been snuck up on. Good cut.
Just call me Paul Bunyan.
Okay, 199 more to go, Paul.
Want a standing ovation or something?
She got that.
I can't believe it. Marlene's smiling.
Huh?
She got the joke.
Scott, watch out!
Quick,
Hurry!
Where?
I think we're surrounded.
Yep.
Well, whoever they are, they look kind of angry.
Hey, guys.
To the temple.
You mean the old dam?
Now you will pay for the sacrilege with your lives.
What sacrilege?
It is because of you that the river god has turned his back on us and is leaving the valley.
What?
The only way to bring him back is by sacrificing you to appease his anger.
My lord, I think I have an idea.
Really?
Really?
Try to set things right by bringing the river back to the valley.
You can do this?
If in return you let us go.
Huh? Very well, Outlander.
So basically, you just gotta keep it from sluicing out.
Find the main control room and close the runoff valve.
Yeah, the runoff, right.
I sure hope he knows what he's doing.
I'm starting to shiver. We're halfway through, and with no mention of Annie's wedding.
Which one? We'll shut them all off until we find the right one.
Do you still have power? I mean, I guess hydroelectric, but I mean, does it have a generator and a power plant inside it?
The Outlanders have been gone a long time.
Yes, they abandoned the others to save themselves.
It's been 12 minutes.
I found it.
Huh? Trust me, will you? He'll be back.
I mean, you all need to invest in watches or find something else to do because this is a very quick turn of events.
He did it! He shut off the valve!
Yay!
There we go. Okay.
The valley is saved. The river god has been appeased at last.
Sorry for the whole sacrificial thing.
You have stopped the spirit of the river from leaving. We invite you to become brothers of the tribe.
No thanks.
I captured myself a wife, so according to the law, you have to make me a warrior.
Is this the missing brother you were talking about?
Yeah, his name is Lancer.
Huh?
It was an honest mistake, little man. I guess you haven't had much experience, little guy.
I mean, Yellow Dancer, everybody.
I hope you will forgive him, my friends. Magruder, these are our guests. Magruder!
This is Magruder's villain origin story. When I come back, you'll all die. Magruder. I think I see Annie's future groom.
Hey, this is none of your business. Why don't you go away and leave me alone?
You'll never get a wife, you lame brain. A woman would have to be crazy to get herself hitched to a dopey square like you.
Dopey Square.
Hold your horses, Annie. If you play your cards right, this guy could make you a jungle princess or a queen. Who knows, they might even make you a goddess.
Jungle Princess, Jungle Queen, Goddess. Span of 10 seconds.
My people hate the overlords. Ever since they first came here, the hunting has been very bad because they frighten all the game out of the valley.
The overlords?
There seem to be too many people that are older there for this whole, like, society to redefine itself.
I knew you were gonna try something stupid.
Come back, Magruder!
I will show all of them that Magruder's a man.
It just explodes.
Scott, you've got to see this. Our hosts are forming their own little welcoming committee. Look.
Well, they're all gonna die.
The trick is going to be getting the Invid close enough to the dam. I'm just afraid we may have to risk the last of our protoculture reserves to lure them there.
Huh. Just leave that to me. When I fire up my cyclone, those guys will follow me anywhere.
I want enough cobalt grenades planted on that dam to blow the whole thing sky high.
Oh, they're gonna love you. I thought you were gonna turn on the release valve again. No, we're gonna blow it up.
Gonna fall!
Hold on, Magruder.
I'm a man. I'll prove it to you.
Keep trying to kill yourself, and you certainly won't live long to be a very old one.
They've taken the bait. Hurry, back to the temple.
They've taken the bait. Okay.
They hurry up and get here.
Well, who knocked him out? So I was gonna say it's not Rand.
Remember to hold on tight now. Yeah. Magruder, we're gonna make a man out of you even if it kills us both.
What a great idea, Annie.
Let's see now.
If you're in the dam, you might want to get out of there, Lunk.
Okay, Lunk, now's the time. Activate the flares.
Protoculture activity in the direction of the dam. Investigate.
Oh, that's smart. So what they do is siphon out the rest of their protoculture just to give that like a lore? Good plan, Scott.
And now.
You can't really blame the river god for blowing his top. Those Invid would get on anybody's nerves.
Try to convince Magruder and Silverhair of that.
Hey, we did it, Annie. Thank you.
Believe you me, it was my pleasure.
If they damage the cyclone, I'll wring their necks for them.
Oh, good news. They only went 95 and crashed.
Magruder it was who led our enemies to their doom. So on this holy night, we honor his courage and recognize him as a man and a brother of the tribe.
With the help of the grateful tribespeople, Scott and the others have built a flotilla of rafts.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Each of them is lost in melancholy thoughts of the little companion they've left behind.
Oh.
With her gone, us big kids are free to get on with some serious freedom fighting.
Oh, you're as transparent as glass. You put on a brave front.
You're going to miss her too, yeah.
That has got to be the weirdest hive I've ever seen. Here goes nothing. All right, everybody, man your positions and stay down.
Is that reflex point? There's no way, right? I certainly didn't think they were that close. And they're going to need some more protoculture no matter what. There's the Enforcer. Didn't see any protoculture.
Hey, look at the trooper leading that patrol. I don't think I've ever seen an Invid like that one before.
What could it be?
Trouble is what it could be. Big trouble. All right, everybody, we just finished the 74th episode of Robotech Annie's Wedding, and the only thing left to do is talk about it. All right, everybody, we just finished the 74th episode of Robotech entitled Annie's Wedding. So it looks like they've left Annie behind, but they're still in the same kind of region. So yeah, folding her back into the group might still be a possibility. Who knows, though, because we are getting towards the end of it all of Robotech. It's 74. I think there's either 82 or 84 episodes total. I don't look ahead because on Crunchyroll, they put a blurb. If you go to the main episode thing, they'll show you like a thumbnail and then like a blurb beside it that my mind can't not read. So I only ever look at the ones, I pulled them up by a bookmark that I have from the last one. And it'll just, if it ruins anything, it shows me the thumbnail for the one coming up. And the one coming up, just to be honest, it says it's called Separate Ways, and there is a picture of Annie. So it looks like she's still in the discussion at the very least for our show here. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. As far as this episode is concerned, I thought it was really cool because, these are these little kind of problems that we have in each episode, and again, with an episodic format, you always want to have a problem of the week or what happens, what kind of goal or obstacle must our group overcome in this one. And I thought for, 74 episodes into it and however many episodes into the new generation, this was a unique one to have. I do like the idea that they're always constantly looking for protoculture or ways to kind of refuel or save protoculture. They don't want to, expend too much of it. It reminds me a lot of like Mad Max, like Beyond Thunderdome, where, gasoline is so incredibly important. Everything is like, it's resource management essentially, and with this type of series that we're in now, with this kind of hit and run tactics, we talked about it before, the guerrilla warfare that is new generation, the resource management aspect of it has come to the forefront time and time again, where it's either like, we can't, when we only had the one alpha, it's like, oh my God, nothing can happen to the alpha. We have to have parts to repair it if it does get damaged, and then again, the protoculture is always a constant problem. It's everything really, anything that they would need as far as like water and food and things like that, they're brought up, which is a very realistic way to kind of approach this particular leg. And again, I just think that it's a really interesting concept to be throwing at what the target audience was, North American youth. And you are telling them now, whereas, let's throw G.I. Joe under the bus again. G.I. Joe never sits around and says, man, we need some gasoline. Even if they're like out on a mission or something, or, we're embedded. There was never talks of, a supply line issue or something like that. It was something they just didn't address. They never reloaded their guns. They did what they did, and they always worked, and everything always, ended up hunky dory, and everybody parachuted out. Everything was fine. But with Robotech, we've gone through all of the things that they and there's very mature themes. People died. There's a lot of violence. You can see the destruction. The Earth is shattered numerous times in this series. And now, whenever we're dealing with these supply issues and these, like we talked about, resource management, it's another thing that kids would have to think about back then that they probably never had to think about before. And I think it's just those little elements, just like, hey, if there's anything that this audience hasn't thought about and you're forcing them to think about it, I think it's a win on numerous fronts. One, it's a narrative win because you have your audience going, oh, you know what? I never considered that. It's also just a realism win, because whenever you're an old guy going back and looking at it, it's something that you note. There's numerous ways that this kind of secures some type of credibility with the audience, regardless of age. It's evocative, and it's just those little things that really set Robotech apart from everything else. Its contemporaries in the North American space in the 80s. It really, really does. Now, with all that being said, I do remember that in Thundercats, they did have some like resource management issues at the beginning when they got to what Third Earth, and it was they had to rebuild like the cat's lair and all that stuff. They were looking for things and building things up then and kind of cannibalizing resources from like the ship and stuff like that. But again, but I remember the Thundercats thing from my youth, which had I watched Robotech, I'm sure I would have been remembering these little hints and drops that they put in there too, because it was so different than the fare that we were usually fed. It's just amazing to me. It really is. And I think that, a lot of you, whenever you comment, I love the comments that you all put in there when you say, I watched this when I was a kid. I watched this with my sister. I watched it with my buddies. I watched it with my brother, and it was the violence and, like the adult themes that were in there that really caught me by surprise and held my attention. And I completely understand that because I've mentioned it throughout the course of the series. What would North American audiences think about this? This had to be the singularity in, the cartoon lineup, and it absolutely was. Now, I'm sure there are other things that I haven't seen that kind of measure up to that. Like I never watched the original Star Blazers. I just finished Space Battleship Yamato over on Patreon. The remake, fantastic series. Unreal. It'll be making its way to YouTube at some point. Incredible series. But again, I never watched the original, so then maybe there's some elements, some mature elements in there too that could have kind of put it up in the same rarefied air as Robotech. But for my money, Robotech just kind of like superimposing what I've learned now back to when I was a kid. I can understand why everybody that watched it then was so enamored by it. It was so different. And again, it's not the violence or the death or the adult themes or you can be all of that absolutely that are kind of like the hard recalls. I would suspect, if somebody were to cast their mind back, oh my God, Roy, or you go back a Ben and you think about these things. But I think it's little moments like this where it's just resource management, where it's just how do we do this realistically or as realistically as we can? Let's build rafts, let's carry our stuff downstream. We're running out of protoculture. All of these things are kind of, being meshed and molded around and being inserted into the narrative without kind of like pointing a finger and being like, hey, have you ever seen this before? Have you ever noticed this before? It's just included. It's expected of the audience. And with that expectation of the audience, you're treating the audience like they're maybe a little older than what they're targeted to be. And again, as a kid, who didn't want to be told that, oh, you're like an older kid, I think I know why. Some of the allure was there on Robotech. Friends, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel and it allows me to alert you next time it's time for some Saturday morning React-TOONS. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. And if you're not a fan of Patreon, consider sticking with us on YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes at least a day early. But my dear friends, all that is then, this is now, and now it's time to say goodbye. So where should we say goodbye from? Well, friends, I deliberately didn't mention the transmutation and the enforcer during the thoughts because I'm sure there's going to be more shared about that in the future. But for right now, where we say goodbye from is our little convoy of rafts that are taking the alphas and all of our vitals and the cyclones and everything down towards the meandering course of this river. But when we look up and we see this unit, this brand new unit, this enforcer unit, what do we think? Is this something new, something deadly, all of the above? Or is it a change that indicates the end of the Invid? Who knows, my friends, until such time as our freedom fighters and the audience figure it out. Vulcan roll, and I'll see you.